Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. So my name is Lexi Jong and welcome back to my channel. And today I wanted to go through some of my Sephora sale recommendations. And I'm also going to show you guys what I have on my wish list. Now I am currently on a no buy with everything that's going on. So I don't know for sure whether I'll pull the trigger or not. I'm not going to buy anything right now at the very beginning of the sale, but I might want to end. So I'm Rouge, which I think the date goes all the way till like May 1st. So it is possible I will break my no buy by that time, but I am going to hold out right now in the very beginning. So I may or may not get the things in my cart, but I will get them at some point. So let me go ahead and go through my recommendations first. And things I have on hand, I'll show you guys and swatch right now, but if I don't have something, I'll flash a picture up. All right, so first on my list is foundations. So there are two that I use frequently, and I prefer light to medium coverage foundations, more on the lighter end usually. And my favorite is the Guerlain L'Essentiel foundation. This is shade 00N, and I just find it to be a light to medium coverage. So this is 00N. And this is for fair skin with neutral undertones. Just get a cloth there. And then the other one, what I have on today, is the Givenchy Teint Couture City Balm. And this is shade N104, which I believe is the lightest shade they have. So here it is on my hand. And you can see that they are pretty similar. The City Balm is a little bit cooler. It's a touch cooler, and it's a little bit lighter. It is a more sheer product. So, you know, I think there's a little bit more leeway with what color you get because it does blend out, and, you know, this is going to be lighter coverage. So those are the two foundation products I've been wearing a ton of. If you're looking for a powder foundation, I do like the Shiseido Synchro powder finish. That's making everything fall. Okay, so I do also like this. This is the Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Custom Finished Powder Foundation. I have shade 110 Alabaster, and one of the things I like about this is this can be used wet or dry. It comes with this dual-sided sponge. The black side is a bit firmer, and the white side's, you know, a little bit not quite as dense. So if you get this damp and you use the dry side, this is basically like a creamed powder type product then. So I do really like that, and I use it both ways, so dry or wet, but I think it's very versatile. So I really enjoy that. And while we started off with Guerlain, let me go ahead and move on with another Guerlain product. And I'm sure most of you guys have these already, but meteorites. I love Guerlain meteorites, and they do have them at Sephora. So this is the light shade, and you can see if you look at these balls up close, that they have like a pearlescent quality to them. And they just give my skin a really nice finish. So I like to use them as a finishing powder. If you buff them in more, you get a little bit more radiance than if you use a looser brush. But I really, really enjoy those. Other powders that I have on the list for recommendations include the Givenchy Prisma Libra. This is the Couture edition, which is available at Sephora, or you can get it in the traditional packaging. This is shade number 1, Mousseline Pastel. So the lid is technically the limited edition item, and it is interchangeable with the others. So these are the colors in Mousseline Pastel, and they kind of got a little mixed tilting it there, but we have a light, it's almost white, but it's like a rosy pink. There's lavender, green, and blue. And one of the things I like about this is when you decant into the lid, your colors stay separated so that you can actually isolate them and use them for specific purposes. So I like to use certain colors for correction as well. So The other Givenchy powder I recommend is the Poudre Premiere. If you're looking for a more matte finish, so this is going to have like, it's not like sparkly or anything, but it is slightly more radiant. And whereas if you're looking for a matte translucent powder, the Poudre Premiere is a matte translucent powder. And this is basically the white pinky shade that's in here. So it's essentially that isolated, but I do feel like it's slightly more matte than that is as well. But if you look at this, you can kind of tell more in the black that it's not totally white. There is a little bit of pink in there. I can't see it in your skin, but it does kind of like give you a nice glow to your skin. While we're on powders, another powder I recommend is the Pat McGrath. This is the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. And I have the shade Light, which is basically white. And I really, really like this. It does give a nice blurring effect. I like using it under my eyes, but I also like to use it kind of all over. Like sometimes I'll use this as a setting powder, and I do notice a blurring effect on my skin. And I don't know, I really like this. It's very smooth. I haven't had any issues with creasing while using this. It's a great powder, I think. And you know, I think it's reminiscent, to me at least, of the By Terry Original Hyaluronic Hydro Powder, but I like this one better. The other one, I feel like you have to be more careful about how much you use. Whereas, of course, you need to still be careful. You don't want it to over powder, but if you have a little excess or whatever, it's not getting dry and cakey looking. Whereas with the Hyaluronic Hydro Powder from By Terry, I feel like it can look drying if you use a little too much. So I really like this. I also like how it is, you know, in more of a solid form, because it's easy to get just a tiny bit up, which is all you need with this product. So while we're on Pat McGrath then, let's go ahead and we'll segue into the concealer, which I have been wearing this concealer basically nonstop. Now for me, I have shade L1, which is the lightest shade. L2 is probably a slightly better match, but I wasn't able to decide. I went and swatched in store and I could kind of go either way, so I decided to just keep the L1 that I had. And here is L1. And it comes with this doe foot applicator. And one thing to note when I was swatching these in stores, L1 is the lightest. L2 is a bit darker, but then from there, it's not really a super gradual progression with the light shades. So you can see that this is going to be a thick, full coverage concealer. You want to use a little bit at a time and use layers. And because this is a little bit light, one of the things I like to do is mix it in with other things. So if I'm looking for more highlighting, I like to mix it in with the Chanel Rosy Light Drops, or if you have a different liquid highlighter, that would work also. And then I also mix it with the Sisley Phytocerns Eclat Concealer, which has a more similar consistency. It's a little bit lighter consistency than the Pat McGrath, but it's similar in texture. And this is shade 1, but it is slightly too dark for me. It's a little bit too warmish. So mixing that in with the Pat McGrath kind of gives me a perfect shade. And it also, you know, I think the two of them together just texturally work very well. So personally, I've been loving the combination because it doesn't look heavy. I haven't had issues with creasing as long as you use light layers. And it's just, you know, it's a nice natural looking full coverage option. If you are looking for something that is lighter coverage, the Cosa Revealer Concealer that I have recently been testing, that it gives a dewier look, and it is, you know, not quite, I'd say it's like a medium coverage, light to medium coverage concealer. So that one's very nice. And I have just started testing the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. And I purchased shade 3, and so far I like it, but it is going to be a lighter coverage, more dewy looking concealer as well. So That is shade 3. And let me put the Pat McGrath on next to that again. I shouldn't have taken that off so quickly. So you can see the difference between the two, Pat McGrath in shade L1 and the Giorgio Armani in shade 3. The shade 3 seems to be a good match. It is probably neutral undertones, a little bit warmer per se, but overall good. While we're on Pat McGrath, the last item I wanted to, well, actually there are 2 more items I wanted to recommend. The lip pencil. I like Pat McGrath's lip pencils. I actually have quite a few of them. They are one of my favorites. And this is the shade Done Undone, which I wear all the time. You know, it's a nude shade, but I think for my fair skin, it has like a touch of pink to it. So it's a little bit more of a rosy nude, which works well than like some of the typical nude liners. It is still a brownish nude. It's just a touch rosier than maybe some of the others, like the Sicily nude shade and so forth is a little bit more brown. Let's see if I can find that easily. So here is the Sicily. I just kind of broke the tip. So you can see that the Sicily is going to be a little bit deeper and a little bit more brown. It's a little bit warmer. So I think for if you have fair skin like me, the Done Undone lip liner is a good option. And that's actually what I'm wearing on my lips. I have the lip liner and just a little bit of lip balm over that today. Pat McGrath. Last thing, if you are interested in shiny, sparkly lip glosses, I do like the Opulist lip glosses. I would recommend getting a mini set because unless you wear glitter lipsticks or lip glosses like all the time, I think a mini set would be a good idea. And they have a set right now featuring these 3 shades. So this is Lavendering, which is one of my favorites just because it's like really unique. Here, I'll put this here. So it's like a light lavender and you can see how much sparkle that is from one swipe. I think they're very sparkly. I know some people don't think they're quite sparkly enough, but for me, they are. This is Dreamscape, which is like a bronzy color with pink in there. So these 3 colors I think are all very, very pretty. And this is Naked Rose, which you can see is a deep rose. But I would recommend the Opulist mini gloss set if you're interested in sparkly lip glosses. Oh, one thing I did want to note though, the Pat McGrath products that I recommended, she still has her spring sale going on until the 17th. So you've got just until the Sephora sale starts for Rouge members. So, you know, that's actually maybe a better deal if you're buying a lot of Pat McGrath items because you get I think it's either 20% off or 25% off depending on how much you spend. So just take a look at that. While talking about lip glosses, one of my recent favorites is the Dior, this is the Stellar Addict or Addict Stellar lip gloss. This is number 785 in Diorama. And I picked up 2 of the shades. This one is my favorite. I actually have been using this all the time. I pretty much just keep this, you know, with me because I put this on almost every day now. So I love this color and highly recommend it. So here is Diorama. Get a little bit more on there. There we go. So I recommend that. And another lip item that I recommend is actually from Givenchy. They have the, what collection? The Gardens edition, which is their spring summer collection. They have the Garden edition lipsticks, which are sparkling lipsticks. This shade here is Sparkling Peony, which is a pink. You can see it's a cool tone pink with some silver sparkle in there. But there's also an orange one and a red one. I do not have the red one, but I do have the orange one, which is Sparkling Lily, number 3. And this, if you were to get one of them, I think this is a fantastic summer shade would be my top recommendation. All right, moving on. Eyeshadow. Today I am wearing the Viseart Petite Pro in Shoo Shoo. If you're looking for a bright palette with a lot of vibrant summer colors, I do recommend this. Today I actually stuck with neutrals, so I have on these and this like a sparkly like duochrome shade. It's like a little bit of pink, a little bit of gold. I have those all over and just a little bit of silver as a liner. And the inner corner. So you can see, you can go pretty neutral with it, or you can go for like a really bright pink look. So if you're looking for something to play with, I recommend this. I like the Viseart shadows, and you can pop these out of the pans. They are magnetic, they lift up. You can rearrange them or, you know, mix them into a different palette or whatever. So if you're looking for something to play around with, I would recommend that. If you're interested in Viseart shadows in general and you haven't tried them yet, this is probably my favorite Viseart palette. I don't have any of the large ones, actually. I really like the small size, the Edit and the Petite Pro and the Theory sizes. I like the smaller pans, and I just like the compact travel size. My favorite out of the ones I have is the Theory palette in Cashmere. So if you're looking for your neutral shadows, I highly recommend this. When I want to do a neutral eye look, this is what I reach for. So you have 3 matte shades and 3 shimmer shades. They all blend beautifully, and I think, you know, it works. I think this will work well for most people. So I really love this one. Definitely one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. If I were to do a list of palettes I would reach out and run out, but if I were starting from scratch, this would definitely be at the top of my list. So I really, really love this one. Okay, so just a few more recommendations. If you are looking for sunscreen, I am not a sunscreen expert, but if you're looking for a sunscreen that kind of works well under makeup and kind of acts like a primer, I would recommend either investing in the Sephora Sun Safety Kit. I buy one of those like every year, so that is actually in my shopping cart right now. But I also like the Supergoop sunscreens. So they have, is it 3 or 4 now that work pretty, so the daily sunscreen, I actually have a gigantic tub of with a pump. I don't know, maybe 64 ounces or something. It's huge. I get it from Nordstrom every year during the anniversary sale. I keep that on the counter for people going in and out of the house, so the kids are always putting on sunscreen. But for my face, I've used the Unseen sunscreen. I've repurchased that a few times, so I've gone through a few tubes of that. That works really well. It does have a silicone feeling, so if you don't like that, I wouldn't recommend it. However, it works really well under makeup and kind of acts a little bit like a primer because of that texture. The matte screen is supposed to be nice. I have not tried that, but that's supposed to work well under sunscreen as well. And the newest one, the glow screen, I said I wasn't going to try it, but I am kind of on the fence. I'm considering trying it because if you're looking for a glow boost under your makeup, I think that would be a really good option. So I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I have heard very positive things about it. Another item from Supergoop that I typically buy every year is the SPF eye cream that they have. It is, I don't know if it's the same though this year. So it has new packaging. It has a new name. I think it's called like Bright Eyed or something like that. So I don't know if it's the same. So I'm not recommending that right now. However, that is something that I'm considering. Moving on, let's move on to blushes. So I really like this Shiseido. This is the Minimalist Whipped Powder Blush. And I just tried this for the first time a week or 2 ago. This is shade Setsuko, number 7. And I just think these have the coolest texture. And when you swatch it, there is some shimmer here. You can see like gold flecks and stuff, but just the texture, the way it shears out and how lightweight and airy it is on your skin, I think it's very awesome. So there is a little bit of gold fleck in there. You don't really see it when you put it on your cheek, or at least I don't. But I think this is really cool, and it lasted all day for me. So I've worn it a few times now, and I haven't had any problems with wear. Obviously, this is a new product, so I don't know how quickly it'll dry out, but I like it. And if you're interested in trying like something with an interesting texture, I'd recommend this. Or the lipstick is pretty cool too, but I actually would recommend the blush over the lipstick. Other blushes, if you are looking for a blush that is really buildable, it's light, it's sheer, it's very buildable, and it kind of gives you like a lit from within look, I like the Patrick Ta blushes. So I know some people like them, some people hate them. It's one of those divisive products. For me, my favorite shade out of these is the peachy shade, She's Sincere. And these go on light, but they're very buildable. They do not swatch well. So when you swatch it, you really can't see it on my hand. But you can see it on your cheek when you apply it. So, that's really all I can ask for. And they are very buildable. Probably the most popular shade is this one, She's Seductive. So if you have a darker complexion than I do, I would probably recommend this one as the number one pick. And if you are as fair as I am, I really like this peachy She's Sincere. So I have 3 of the 4 Patrick Ta blushes. These are my 2 favorites. The She's Seductive is a little bit plummy, and I think it is great for the fall. For the summer, I would probably go with more of a peachy shade, but that is just me. I do have She's Passionate, which is the pink one. I don't reach for that one as much. I think I don't like that one as much. So that one's not my recommendation. All right, and then moving on to another brand, Tom Ford. So Tom Ford, one of my favorite products from them is the Luxe Gloss lip glosses. And I have a few of these. I actually really love this color. This is my favorite shade of the glosses that I have. And I only have a few. I don't have like a super extensive collection. But this is Smoked Glass. And it is very plummy. I love it. Another shade I really like is Exquise. And yeah, I don't know. For some reason with this formula, I tend to reach more for the ones I have that are darker colors than the lighter colors. With the lighter colors, I usually end up reaching for a different brand. I don't know why that is. It's probably just me, but I think it's one of my favorite glosses in general, the Smoked Glass shade. So I highly recommend that. And if you haven't tried one of his glosses and you're interested, this sale, or if Neiman Marcus and Saks and Nordstrom end up doing 25% off again, that would be even better. Other recommendations from Tom Ford. One of the things that they have at Sephora that is one of my favorite products is actually this from the holiday collection. This is one of the cream and powder eye color duos. So you've got this cream shadow down here, which is a lovely taupey neutral shade all on its own. It's very creamy. I'm going to put this down here. So you can see that there. I must have smeared some lip gloss there. And then on the top, you have this more of a shimmer topper. This is powder shadow here. And let me put some here. And then if you layer it, it gets this really pretty color. So when I'm looking for a super quick 5-minute eye look, 5-minute makeup look in general, this is my normal product. I'll either reach for just a single eyeshadow shade that I like to wear by itself, like one of the Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades, or this. So I think this gives a really polished neutral look, and you can either use the sparkle or not use the sparkle. So it's very versatile. This is shade number 11 in Fleur Neige. They do currently have it on the Sephora website. So it is a limited edition color, I believe. It was part of the holiday 2019 collection. So I recommend this because I use this all the time. I actually bought one for a friend because I love it so much. Tom Ford. Other recommendations I have in general from the sale is if you are interested in skincare items, I really like the Biossance line. I have not tried everything from there, but one of my favorite products from them is the Omega. It's the Omega Repair Cream. I think it might be the Squalane Omega Repair Cream. But I love that. And, I've gone through several jars of that. I love, and so that, I think is a great product. Their vitamin C rose oil is also very nice. I use that regularly too. Those are probably my top two products from Biossance. And then also this rose vegan lip balm, which is a very lightweight lip balm. I actually have it on now over the Pat McGrath lip pencil, but for summer use, this is just something I really love to use during the summers. All right, so those are probably my top recommendations for the Sephora sale of things that I really love and wouldn't hesitate to buy again. So I recommend those particular items. Now, on to things in my cart. So I will go ahead and put up pictures of those items since I don't have them. One of the things that is on the top of my wish list from Sephora are the Givenchy 9-pan eyeshadow palettes that just came out. So these were a new release. They just came out of maybe a few weeks ago, and Sephora does not have all of the palettes, but they do have 3 of the ones that just came out. So I'm interested in 2 of the 3 that they have. So the first one I like is the 9.01, the neutral beiges and browns. And then I also like the 9.04, the cool grays. So they have the third one they have is rustic browns. It looks a little bit too warm tone for me, so I will be skipping that one, at least for now. I do have some things that were recommended by viewers, such as the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow Duo. So that is in my cart. Another thing that's in my cart are some new shades of the Shiseido Minimalist Whipped Powder Blush and the Visionary Lipstick. So I'm trying to narrow it down. My cart was like, thousands of dollars because I had all these different color options, everything in there. But I've narrowed it down to one of each. So for the Visionary Lipstick, I'm looking at the Pink Dynasty shade. And for the blush, I'm looking at the shade Koki. It's Kokei. So those are the ones that I have in my cart at the moment, but I have a whole bunch in my loves list right now. I'm also looking at Lancome. They released some new tinted lip balm type products called L'Absolu Mademoiselle Lip Balm. And I guess there are 2 varieties of these. So some of them have mint and some of them do not, from my understanding. And Sephora doesn't have all of them. I don't know if the others are at department stores right now or just on Lancome or what. But I guess Sephora has half of them and half of them are not at Sephora. So I was looking at quite a few of them, but I narrowed it down to number 2, Ice Cold Pink, and number 4, Dewy Orange. Another thing in my cart is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. This has been in my cart for quite a while. I've almost pulled the trigger several times, but I have not been able to determine which shade I am. I've done their shade finder several times. I've tried Foundation, which if you haven't tried that before, that is a website. You go in, you put in all of the current foundation matches and it will match you with most foundations. And unfortunately, I have to say that has worked really well for me for other items and so forth. But this, I'm not able to get something consistent with any of the shade finder things I've tried, like Sephora's and Ilia's and Foundation. So I just don't know which one to go with. I did swatch them in store before all of this happened and they oxidize, and that was part of my issue. I just couldn't tell in the lighting. So it's in my cart, but I don't know. I might just hold off and wait until I can see it in person again. I have the Sephora Sun Safety Kit in my cart. The Cosa just came out with a new bronzer. So it was actually just released, and it is the Sun Show Moisturizing Baked Bronzer, and it looks really beautiful. I would get the color light, and I think, even though I'm not a huge bronzer person, I've been testing it out. I've got the Tom Ford Terra on today. I think I went a little too heavy on it today for me, but this one actually looks like it would be even more suitable for fair skin tones, so I'm very anxious to try that. Also looking at a Cosa lip balm, the Cosa Sport Lip Fuel Hyaluronic Lip Balm. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on that. I've got a lot of lip balms, so I'm kind of thinking I should use up more of what I have before I purchase it. So I'll probably hold off on that one. Natasha Denona has that new mini retro palette, which I'm on the fence about because there are only 2 new shades in there. And although I don't have all of them, my most one of the shades, there are 2 shades I'm most interested in there. And one of them I already have. So I'm undecided, but I think they're $25. They're great for travel. I love the compact size of them. Like this is the size, this is the mini gold. If you haven't tried Natasha Denona, I do recommend some of the mini palettes if you're interested. They are not all good, so I would definitely go with one of the recent ones like the mini retro. I think the mini glam is a very nice set for neutrals. She considers it a neutral, like a cool tone neutral palette. For me, I think it leans more warm. I don't really consider this cool. I would consider this like warm neutrals, but it is very nice, and you can kind of experience a variety of her different formulas. So I do like those. So I'm considering the mini retro palette. It's still in my cart. And also the mini bloom blush that was released at the same time. So it's like more of like a highlighting blush, like a peachy pinky highlighting blush. And I think it looks really pretty for summer. Also in my cart is another lip balm, which I should hold off on, but I don't know. I love blood orange. I love the scent. I love the taste. I have been known to get a little obsessive about blood orange. And so just for example, Costco used to sell around the holidays this Italian blood orange soda that came from Italy. I forget what the brand was, it began with a G, like Galvania or something like that. And anyway, it was like an organic sparkling soda, blood orange flavored. And it was only sold around the holidays for like a couple weeks, and then it was like gone. And then they started doing it every other year. And I actually haven't seen it in a couple of years now. So I stocked up. I actually went to Costco twice and filled 2 shopping carts just with that, and ended up with over 100 bottles of the soda and filled my pantry with it because I love it that much. And these are like those big, like liter size bottles. So, it's not like a 1 serving type bottle. So I bought tons of those. So that's how obsessed I am with blood orange. And Fresh now has a sugar lip balm in the tub that is blood orange scented, and reviews say that, it really smells authentic. So I'm very eager to try that. I love that scent. Another recommendation from you guys is actually the Anastasia Beverly Hills glitter adhesive to try out with some of the more sparkly shadows I have. So that's in my cart. The Hourglass Ambient Strobe Lighting Palette that just came back. That was limited edition back a couple of years ago, and they brought it back now. I don't know if it is permanent or limited edition now, but that is something that is on my list to try. I also have a full size of the Cosa Concealer in my cart in shade 1. A few items from Tower 28 Beauty. I have the Beach Please Tinted Lip and Cheek Balm in Magic Hour, and the Shine On Jelly Lip Gloss in Fire, which is like an orangey shade. And then the other items, I've got the Supergoop Bright Eyed Mineral Eye Cream, which again, I've used their old version. This seems to be new. It's a totally new packaging. The other was a squeeze tube. Now this looks like a pump product, and it's got a new name. So I really don't know how that's going to be. I also have one of the Gucci lip balms in my bag. Number 2, No More Orchids, which has been in my bag for like a year. So I don't know. Okay, so one of the other things I wanted to mention was Sephora also carries Surratt. They only have a small selection of the items, and I recommend quite a few Surratt products. However, Surratt is doing a 25% sale off on their website, so I didn't recommend any items from Surratt on my Sephora list for that reason. Plus, you can now get them in the US at several of the department stores, and they have a larger selection. However, if there's something there that you see that, you want, or you are not in the US and Sephora is a better place to purchase it, I definitely do recommend the brushes. I have tried most of them now. I love them. They are fantastic. Definitely some of my favorite. The Releve eyelash curler, this is fantastic. I like this one, and I just saw that they have a set on there right now for $45. It's a limited edition set that has the eyelash curler and a Surratt mascara for $45. I have never tried their mascara, so that is something that is now going in my shopping cart. The Artistique shadows, I like the eyeshadows and the blushes from them. So I have in the past purchased quite a few from Sephora during the VIB sales, but again, their selection is dwindling. So, if there's a color there that you see that you're interested in, I recommend it. I really do love that brand. I love the finish of those. And, they are very blendable, easy to blend. You can go sheer, you can build them up, and they last. So for me, I personally really like those. Just note that they are, they come in a small little pan. You can either add a magnet and add it to a magnetic pan, or you can add it to, they sell separate palettes you can add them into. But otherwise you're buying them as like a little individual in a little plastic case, which, some people are put off by when they first buy it because they're not expecting, a little cheap plastic case. But again, the whole point is to be able to create your own palettes and so forth. So thank you so much. I will have a video on Surratt shadows and cheek products that I have coming up soon. I purchased some new Surratt shadows recently, so I will be doing a Surratt collection video for items that I currently have. So stay tuned for that if you are interested. Yep. Okay, so that is everything that is currently in my cart. And I am on that no buy right now, so I don't know if I will be ending that prior to the sale ending or not. But these are all items that I will be getting at some point. So any questions, comments, or suggestions on items in my cart or recommendations that you guys have, I'd love to hear your recommendations. If you could leave them down below in the comment box, that'd be great. And if you guys like this video and found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. So thank you so much and have a great day. And if you are shopping, happy shopping. If not, happy window shopping or online, viewing, browsing. So have a great day, and thanks again for watching.